Hi, everybody. This is Mike Norman. I am in the ProActive newsroom with Jeff Ramson, CEO and founder of ProActive Capital Group. We're going to be discussing how the future of social media is changing and what opportunities will present themselves. Jeff, what about that? I mean, the thing that we know about the internet, social media, is that it evolves so fast. You know, just several years ago, not long ago, we got YouTube. Then, there was Facebook, then Twitter. I mean, what do you see in terms of the change going on, and how does that create new opportunities for your company and your clients?
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, so the way you described it is right. Over the last few years, we've seen a tremendous growth in the social media platforms that you discussed. What I see happening and changing, and what will make a big difference for our companies and our clients, is the ability to create niche communities from all of that information. Right now, there's so many people on Facebook and so many people on Twitter, but how do you find the people that matter to you? And how do you find the people that have an interest in what you're doing? And I think you can really create specific communities. The word we use is long tail. So there are long tail communities that you want to attract and identify.
So it's almost like it's not a hit or miss or an art form. You're kind of describing it in a way that there's really a scientific method in going about creating those niche communities. That's interesting. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, Mike. It's a great point. So one of the first things we do for a client is we want to go out there and identify out there on the web who are the people that are already talking about topics that relate to them. And they may not know of our client yet, but they're talking about things that are important to them. So we can identify them. We can identify who are the most influential. And there's different ways of ranking them by relevance. And then we can connect with them. And hopefully we bring forth an engaging story that will allow them to pay attention and connect to our client. So we can create a niche target audience.
So it does sound like you really need somebody with the expertise and the experience to put these strategies, to work. I mean, just
correct.
If you say, oh, I'm going to, hire a search engine optimization type of a guy, it might not be enough. It's a set of strategies that you have to use.
It's much more than that. It really is. And a mistake that companies will make is, okay, we will need a social media strategy. Okay, we have a Twitter account, a Facebook page, and a LinkedIn profile, and we're in social media. That does not put you in the social media arena in any significant way. You have to have a strategy on how to engage.
But most people think it does, right?
Exactly, they do, and that's a misperception. So one of the first things you have to do is you have to listen. You have to listen to see what's being said out there about the topics, and then come up with a good engagement strategy on how to interact or create your message that you want to distribute.
Can you give us some examples of companies that are out there, and they could be large companies right now who are really savvy in the use of social media?
Sure,
Who would you point to?
Well, I think that probably the best known is Netflix. I mean, their CEO is a very, very vocal and outspoken person on Facebook, on his personal page, and certainly through the company. And that's led to some really interesting developments in the space. But I think from our perspective, what's most important are the large pharma companies, because they use their social media influence in ways that I think is very, very important. They're sharing, engaging, educating the community on healthcare issues. And I find that to be a very good strategy. And I want our smaller biotech companies to do the same thing.
So you're using basically the same sort of techniques to enable your companies, which are smaller companies, have that same sort of influence and power out there in terms of getting buzz?
Correct. And the advantage that we have is our companies that we represent are relatively small, but the people that run these companies and their scientific advisory boards are large in stature in their field. We want to take that stature and make sure that we're using the social media strategies properly to bring attention to the company.
Now, I know you focus a lot on the biotech space. Any particular reason? I mean, obviously it's a hot area. Very important in terms of just humanity and discoveries and that sort of thing. Health, very much healthcare is a topic and an issue today.
Yeah, there's a reason we specialize in healthcare related companies. One is because the earliest adapters to use the social media strategies that we're talking about were healthcare bloggers. First of all, you find very, very dedicated communities of people for obvious reasons. So anyone who's afflicted or has someone close to them that's afflicted by any kind of disease is going to use the web to get information and engage in forums and in communities. So I find there's a very, very committed audience of people to reach. So if a company can bring forth an educational message and a non-promotional message, they're going to engage with a dedicated group.
Excellent. Well, it looks like along with everything else that we've seen on the internet, lots of change coming when it comes to social media. ProActive at the forefront of adopting those changes and creating usable strategies for its clients. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Mike.
That's it for now, folks. This is Mike Norman. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.